All right, thank you.
All right. So, thanks everybody for staying on and those that are coming on. I thought today I'd touch on some easier demographics for trying to generate some listings for those that are out there doing farms and things like that. But first, before we get started, I wanted to turn over to Andrew real quick to give us a mortgage update on what's going on in the industry.
Hey everyone. So nothing's changed too much. It actually looks like right at the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, we actually saw a little bit of a rate drop. It kind of been climbing, but they were good Friday. What I am seeing though is a lot of the lenders that we work with seem to be pushing out new FHA programs where they're giving little larger credits and things. So keeping that in mind for if you have a buyer that might be on the higher side of debt to income or have potentially a lower credit score that additionally could use maybe some closing cost credits from their loan, FHA might be a way to investigate that and see if you could create a deal from that. Because I mean, at this point, 0.5% of a loan right now is be $2,500 to $100 to $3,000 for what we're house prices right now, which could create a significant lender credit, allowing them to potentially cover half of their closing costs or something like that. So that's been good. And then now that additionally, now that if you guys are out doing open houses or you're picking up more listings, and one of the things that I do a lot of even in my personal life is play around with video and photo a lot. So if you guys are doing stuff out there here in San Diego, and you want to do some quick videos at one of your listings or a property that you're doing, or even stuff like co-branded stuff where we're sending out Q&A type stuff to your own database. I'd love to get on a call with you and figure out how we can make some stuff happen. And of course, no charge for that. Just want to basically use it as a tool to put more content out and keep us within this company moving forward in the best way with video marketing. But that's it for today.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's always a little more fun doing the videos when you have someone that you can kind of interact with too. So if you want to do market updates or anything like that, sounds like Andrew's kind of willing to partner up with you on that, and maybe have a good time doing some market updates. So, all right. So the reason why I'm, that's a big good topic for today. We are seeing, some more listings coming on the market, a little less hesitation from homeowners with listing their home. And so I thought I would touch on absentee owners because this is something that I focused a lot on in my career, was absentee owners and marketing to them. And, I ended up working with, because of that, a lot of investors and things like that, which worked out well when, markets kind of shifted, which, we may or may not be kind of seeing right now. I know the market's softening a little bit in some of the areas here in California. So I thought I would just touch on absentee owners a little bit. So first off is, what is an absentee owner? It's basically an owner that doesn't, that's not their primary residence. Short-term, long-term rental homes, vacation homes, property purchased for loved one to live in, inherited properties. Those are all examples of absentee owner properties. I think they're a great demographic to add to your real estate prospecting farm because, they they have a different motivation for selling, and there's a lot less emotion involved. So some of the reasons they may want to sell, which, you know, this could be some good timing, landlord fatigue, especially if they have problems with tenants. You know, we've had the eviction moratorium in place for quite a while, and with that being lifted, and, you know, I know that's kind of on shaky ground, but it could be a good time to be reaching out to these small mom and pop homeowners who can now possibly get the tenant out and sell the home and recoup some loss for the past year and a half. Frustration with law changes like new rent control rules. It's a hot topic here in San Diego. I know some of them are kind of fearing that. So that's a good topic to bring up. They're less emotionally attached. The property is an investment for them. And there may be better opportunities that they see or that can be presented to them. Maybe it's been a vacation home, they can no longer afford it, or maybe they're just not vacationing anymore and they don't need it anymore. And lastly, inherited homes. This is what I see quite a bit in the market is, you know, trust sales and stuff like that, where maybe mom or dad passed away and the kids inherited the home and they have no use for it. They just want to cash out. They don't need to worry about, you know, purchasing another property or anything like that. So they just want to get it sold. So those are just a few examples of some absentee owners that you might want to target. How to determine which properties are which. So public records most likely just show that the owner's address is somewhere other than the subject property. Public records won't tell you what the owner is using the property for, but they can give you some insight. So this isn't 100% accurate, but, you know, if you're trying to figure out maybe what this person is using this property for, here's some examples. So you can always kind of tell by the location of the owner's primary residence, typically in the mailing address, and a little common sense can help you determine what the property is being used for. So if the property is in an area that isn't likely to appeal to visitors, it's probably a long-term rental. If the property is in an area where people are like to vacation and the owner doesn't own any other properties in the area, more than likely it's going to be a vacation home. These homes can often be in the family trust, which is generally shown in the public records. The property is in a vacation destination and the owner owns multiple non-owner occupied properties nearby or in other vacation settings, then they are likely to be short-term rentals. Ownership showing as an LLC or similar can also be common for these types of properties. So why is that important? Well, it helps with your approach if you're going to be marketing directly to these homeowners to have a good idea of what they're using the property for. So, and I just threw a little snippet here from the CRS report. You can see that the property address here was 403 Aiden Circle. The owner, it's in a trust, and they live in Colorado. This happens to be facing a lagoon. I just know this because it's in my neighborhood. And so I can all but bet that this is probably a family vacation home. So how to find absentee owners. There's a lot of ways to find them. You can use the CRS data in your MLS. You can do a simple search there. You just go to CRS report, click on advanced search, scroll down a bit, and you can search. There's buttons there for in-state owners or out-of-state owners. And then you can define your search area from there. And then you can extract a report, you know, CSV or Excel. And if you're going to do mailers or anything like that, that's what that's good for. Rental data in MLS. I mean, if you are checking this, a search of past rental listings in your farm area will produce a list of, you know, the long-term rentals. They could be right for marketing, especially if you're hitting them at the right time. You know, think that a lot of these guys are on either a 6-month or a 1-year term. And if you saw that this property rented, you know, around this time last year, there's a chance that the tenant is either in renewal or the property is going to be turning, which would be a good time to reach out to the owner to talk about possibly selling versus re-renting the home. Third-party real estate websites, obviously your Zillows and Realtor.coms. Homeowners do place their properties on there that are self-managing. Maybe you want to reach out to them about selling instead. Title companies, we all have a favorite title rep we're working with. If you don't, I can give you a referral. But they can pull up any data you want. So if you want, absentee owners in certain zip codes or certain neighborhoods, or even certain size homes, they can pull all that data for you. They can pull it for, how many years they've owned the home. I mean, you can really narrow it down quite a bit and, get a good list to work with. There's tons of companies out there that you can buy lists from. Obviously, this is the easiest way to get lists. It's not necessarily the best or most accurate because they don't always update those lists every week. So a lot of times it's just once a year. So you may have, outdated data from those lists, but, it is an easier way to do it. Keep in mind that other realtors are probably buying the same list, so the competition could be a little higher on marketing to those properties. Take a drive, so otherwise known as driving for dollars. This can be incorporated in your daily driving areas by simply just taking a few side roads while you're out running errands, or even after you're showing clients homes. Maybe you want to drive around the neighborhood. Maybe it's a neighborhood they love and you want to try and get a listing from there. Well, maybe finding the absentee owners there and seeing if they would be willing to sell to your buyers. So I know I've talked to a few agents that do this. They just drive a few neighborhoods, each day after they take the kids to school, and they look for coming soon signs and stuff like that. They're trying to find properties, but they also look for what looks to be vacant homes, homes that have newspapers piled up out front, or maybe the yard's getting overgrown, or maybe a little deferred maintenance. So those can be prime for targeting. Things to look out for: long-term rentals. Look for rent sites, obviously. Look for homes with little or no outdoor decor, with simple basic landscaping like rock front yards, hardly any vegetation. Homes with low curb appeal, or little customizations. Short-term rentals. Some of these will have placards outside designating them as vacation rentals. Look for the obvious signs of vacancy during off-season in vacation settings. They may also have digital door locks. That's pretty common with these. And then vacation homes. Generally, these are more personalized homes and then long-term rentals. Look for signs of vacancy during the off-season. Newspapers piling up, trash cans, or not having trash cans out when it's trash days. Those can all be vacant homes, vacation homes. I can set out this PDF after the webinar. These are links. If you do want to purchase lists, these are some of the more popular service providers for that. And last, we'll just cover some ways to market to absentee owners. Direct mail. Direct mail does work. It can be a little expensive, but you really need to plan for the long game on this and be consistent. That's probably the biggest reason why direct mail fails for real estate agents, is they're not consistent with it. They do it for a couple months and then they stop and say they didn't get any action from it, but repetition is what is going to make this work for you. Have a good value proposition geared towards landlords. That's why it's important to know maybe what they're using this property for, so that your messaging is right. Keep them up to date with neighborhood sales and market trends, and keep them up to date with upcoming changes to tenant landlord laws. There's a lot of stuff changing in our environment, and keeping people informed can go a long ways. Cold calling. Timing can be key. Try to reach out when the property is turning over, or when you think the property is turning over. So if you're using, the MLS to search rentals and past rentals, and you think maybe there's a chance the property is going to be turning just based on when it rented last, that's probably a good time to reach out for a call. Again, have good value proposition directed at landlords. And maybe you have an investor buyer looking in that neighborhood that's looking for a tenant in place. That's always a good approach too, especially if you have that type of client. Be informed about tenant landlord law changes and have scripts ready with rebuttals to their oppositions to selling. Social media. This won't be a done in a day kind of thing. And it can be a bit tedious to get started, but it's a no cost approach. So using your absentee owner list, search out and make connections with them on social media. LinkedIn's a great platform because you're coming across as a professional. Be sure to post updates regularly about market trends and landlord laws if you're going to be building that sort of following on social media. Join groups that are geared towards investors. Be active in the group by asking, answering questions, and posting useful information that's relevant to absentee owners. Start your own private group. I'm starting to see this a little bit more in our industry, where agents start their own private group with their current client base. Maybe you want to start one that's geared towards owning investment property and vacation homes and invite absentee owners to it. Make it informative. Obviously, you don't want to be salesy in these kinds of things. Try using the messenger function of the platform to reach out directly after you've made connections. Use online advertising campaigns using custom audiences and retargeting. This is something Leo can help you with if that's something you want to do. He can set up a full campaign for you for the custom audience and then retargeting them as well, so you stay in front of them. And then turning contacts into clients. So building a list really isn't that difficult. Like I said, we can get it from the title company. You can buy the list. You can add your own in there. That's really not the difficult part. It's the follow-up. That's the biggest challenge I see with converting leads. So lack of results usually stems from lack of follow-up. Use a good CRM with email, text, voicemail drop, video capabilities. We now have CRM Interactive here at the brokerage. It's a great CRM. It does all of these functions on automation for you. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But if you're using a different CRM, just use it to its fullest. Make sure you have all those touches set in place. Embrace automation. Get your CRM to follow-up plan in place. Let the CRM do the bulk of the follow-up work. If your CRM is in your head, you're not going to be working the clients very well. So let the automation that's out there these days do the bulk of the work for you. Provide value. Keep up on market changes and laws that affect the landlords. Share information regularly through your CRM and follow-up and on social media. Know your numbers. Generally, these types of properties are investments for the owner. They don't typically have emotional ties to the home, and they just want to know what their bottom line will be. If it makes sense to them to sell, they will likely list. So, know your title and escrow fees, know your transfer taxes, the HOA fees, things like that, and know what the numbers are for the neighborhood. That'll go a long ways when you're talking to these potential sellers. Have referrals ready. Many of the property owners will want to perform a 1031 exchange. They'll want to know what their tax implications are. So have those referrals to those professionals ready. They also may need a little help getting it ready, especially if they're out of state. So having handyman or contractors in place for referrals will also be really beneficial. And I like to keep in contact with an eviction company because sometimes you need that. Keep building your contact list. So strive to add fresh contacts to your absentee farm list regularly. Set it and forget it mentality with a one-time farm purchase will just yield poor results. You're not going to be happy with it. It'll end up being outdated data. So you want to keep it fresh all the time and keep adding in new contacts. And, plan for the long game. You can start this today and you may get a call tomorrow. You may get a call next month, but either way, you're building a pipeline. So plan for the long game. Hopefully you'll start getting reach people contacting you quickly. You will have some where the timing is just there, but for the most part, plan on a 6-month or a year-long campaign, even past that sometimes for some of these homeowners. So just keep that in mind, be consistent with it, and it will be successful. So if there's no questions, I actually don't see any in the chat. Can go ahead and wrap up. Feel free to reach out to me individually. If you want to go down this direction, I can give you some pointers, some things that I used to do when I used to do this a little more heavy, and hopefully make it a success for you. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.